Welcome to Promote Profit Publish. I'm your host, Juliet Clark, and today we have a webinar about the Perfect Reader Playbook. And if you're someone who wants to follow a PowerPoint, I'm going to have some slides, and I would encourage you to go over to our YouTube channel, Superbrand Publishing. That way, if you're someone who likes to see the graphs and charts, which most of you probably don't, you'll think it's really boring. But if you want to see those, go over and watch this on YouTube. So welcome everybody. And before we get started, I want to apologize to everybody who signed up for Karen Strauss's earlier in the month. We had massive tech problems, and I appreciate your patience and coming back today to watch this as well. So a lot of you may have seen Karen Strauss's email yesterday that said, what the hell is going on with Amazon? And we're going to incorporate that in today, because part of the reason we put the Perfect Reader Playbook together was because Amazon made so many changes, but they are really good changes for people who have built an author platform. So I'm hoping today will help you to really stop guessing and start executing in a way that will coordinate with those Amazon algorithms and the new way that they're doing business with this. So, okay, let's jump into it. This is for you if you are building your business and you're using nonfiction books to do that. So that's someone who might have consulting, coaching, or speaking. If you're a first-time author that you're thinking about, how am I going to get this audience? If you have a book already and maybe your launch underperformed, and that happens a lot, people don't understand the industry. They don't understand what's going on in the market. So the launch maybe didn't meet your expectations. And when I say meet your expectations, you probably were not only expecting to sell books, but you were expecting to sell more coaching, consulting, and speaking as well. And that visibility didn't happen for you. And then this is especially if you're a pre-launch author and you are 6 to 12 months out, you actually have the opportunity to start building your platform in a way that Amazon is going to reward you mightily on. So this is all based. I just won the Gold Book Fest Award for the Best Business Marketing Book. We have a book called The Perfect Reader Playbook, and the program that I'm going to talk about today is based on that as well. I'm a publicist, a literary strategist, and a book marketer. And I come from the best of both worlds in publishing, because I've not only worked for a traditional publisher, but also for one of the largest advertising firms in the world on a $1 billion account. So I got the best of both with publishing and marketing in that sense. So let's talk a little bit about book launches. Many of you have been through them. They're brutal. And at the end, sometimes they can come out in a not so great way. And it's unfortunate because you probably hired great editors, great designers, formatters, you hired a good publisher, but you didn't understand what was going on in the bottom of the business. And what that means is you probably didn't have as many buyers as you'd like. My personal story is my first book. I sold less than 200 copies. And when I cleaned out my grandmother's house after she passed away, I think she had most of them. So I didn't really, if I'm honest about it, I didn't really build an audience. I didn't have much of a crowd, but I had come from traditional publishing, and they did everything for you there. They did all the publicity. They were running ads. They were doing all the things back in 2010, 2012 that self-published and hybrid published authors didn't know they needed to do yet. And to be honest, and if you read the book, you'll find out that one of the scams that was really going on, I call it a scam because I thought it was extremely unethical, is while the traditional publishers were out there saying, you will not have credibility because you didn't publish with us, they were starting subsidiaries of their own companies to self-publish people and hybrid publish people and make money off the thing they said would never get off the ground. So they kind of deserve what they got with self-publishing and hybrid publishing being so competitive 15 years later. So the traditional book launch myth is you write that book in isolation. You don't need to build an audience because we're going to build it for you. You don't need to test your messaging. You don't need to build a community. You just need to write it in isolation, polish it to perfection, hit publish, and everybody will buy. And that is a model that just doesn't work. What ends up happening is we beg our families and friends, we exhaust our personal network, almost to the point where they're blocking us now because they don't want to hear about our book one more time. And then we wonder why our sales stall as well. And if you have been on social media for any period of time, you've seen that where it's day after day, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. And finally, you're like, I'm blocking you. I don't want to hear about your book anymore. And so that's what has been happening for a very long time. This is a graph of what it looks like when we launch. And you can see there is a long tail collapse. One of the things that nobody ever tells authors is your book is not a short-term project. It is literally a lifetime of promotion if you want to keep that book in the public eye. So we start out week one, we have a great pre-sale, we have a great week one, and then everything starts dropping down. And that's because we exhausted our family and friends, and we didn't build a big enough community around what we do. 70% sales drop by week two. It isn't bad luck, you guys. It's a predictable outcome if you haven't built your platform correctly. So the reason most authors stay stuck in this cycle here is because you don't understand what the problems were with the launch. And people start second guessing themselves. Was it my marketing strategy? What did I position it with the wrong market? Was my metadata wrong? Was my target market definition wrong? Was my messaging languaging wrong? And they never stopped to think about the fact that they didn't build that platform in advance because they did this short-term launch strategy that may have encompassed all those things, but it didn't build the audience they were looking for. They wanted to build that audience afterwards. The audience building comes before the book. And if you're one of those people who's building your business with a book, you're going to find that your business gets much stronger as well with people who are visible and looking at your business as well. So when books sell for $1 to $3 to $4 a piece, your ultimate goal is what is next and what am I selling that is, $2,500, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, because that's where you're really going to make the money with the book, with it. So how people are trying to fix it. They take courses. Some of the courses related to Amazon are old. I just had a client at the end of last year who, in the middle of our publishing, told me I was doing it all wrong because she took an Amazon course 2 years ago. She had no idea that everything she took in that course was obsolete. Then you guys go and you hire VAs to do it. They promise I can get you great social media traction, but you don't have an audience for them to build traction to. You invest in a website, you start redesigning it. Well, maybe this was the problem. And then you start running Amazon ads and social media ads. And Amazon ads are really hard to target because Amazon's really more interested in taking your money than they are giving you money. So, you really have to know how to position all that. But these are fixes that you guys get into trying. And one of the other big problems with courses I'm going to get into a little bit more is there are lots of worksheets, spreadsheets, there are lots of tools for you to use, but they never tell you how to take what you do in particular and fit it into those in a meaningful way. So, and that's what I'm talking about here. It's not that your information was wrong, it's that nobody was there to translate your specific situation where the rubber met the road. Meaning, I have been in some of those courses where people come to me because they know I'm pretty good at messaging, and they'll say, I don't understand what I'm supposed to put in this spreadsheet. And the truth of it is they don't really know who their audience is. They don't really know what their messaging is, yet they're trying to take a course that's going to lead them to bigger things. So they're not really getting the benefit out of this that they should be. It's a lot of hypothetical instead of real world. It's almost like going to college when you learn all these things and then you go out in the real world and everybody laughs like, oh, we don't do it that way. But college taught you that? That was my experience with college anyway. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the right way to do it. So there are actually 5 stages of reader awareness. And this is where your platform will reward you in many ways. The first stage is what I call the unaware stage, or nobody knows you're alive stage. And I know that sounds really harsh, but it's true. Look at all the people on social media. Look at all the content on social media. How are you going to break through that? So, stage one is actually the stage that you will stay at the longest because number one, they don't have any idea who you are. And number two, many of these people don't know that the problem they have exists yet. So they may know, let's take scaling a business, for example. They may know that their business isn't growing. They might not know why yet. And if you're out there telling them, this is the problem and this is the solution and here's my book, and they're not even aware of what's going on yet, you're not going to be able to capture them. So you're going to speak to this audience in a much different way than you would in a problem aware stage or a solution aware stage, because you're getting yourself out there, you're getting your branding out there, but you're also talking in your blogs or your podcast or your Substack, your LinkedIn newsletter, whatever avenue of content you're using, you're talking that to them in an introductory way. This is the basement of the problem you're having. And so when you're going out in what I'm going to call stage 4, which we'll get to in a minute, you're skipping all of this. So you're going into a cold market with a product is basically what you're doing. So you're probably going to stay in that stage, if you're really well at getting through it, 3 months. If you're not, if you're kind of floundering a little bit, it's going to take a good 6 months to get you through that stage and get everything you need to get done. And I will say in every single stage here, consistency and content. Content is a must to get all of this done. So after that stage, then you're going to start moving into what we call the problem aware stage. That's where on every course you've ever taken, every worksheet you've ever done, somebody's asking you, what are the pain points of your audience? And so this is where you're going to use that and start writing articles that address those pain points. You're going to start getting feedback. Maybe you have surveys or quizzes and find out, is the pain point that I think my audience has really the right pain point? And using what I call reflective marketing back to them, where now you're going to use their actual words they're telling you and reflect them back to you in your landing page copy, on your lead magnets, on all of those things in that problem aware stage. So you're going to spend some time there as well, because you need to establish what that pain point actually is and then start writing those articles or recording those podcasts so they hit those pain points with the right people that you brought in, that you've been bringing in. So you're going to speak to people differently, your audience, in the problem aware stage than you did in that unaware stage, because now you're moving them up. The next is the solution aware stage. This is where you have a solution to the pain points that you've been articulating probably for the last 10 to 12 weeks and talking about with these new people that are coming in. Now you have a solution, but it's not just about, hey, I'm over here and I have a solution. It's showing them case studies. It's showing them, querying them on what have they tried before that didn't work. Why does your solution work when these other solutions don't? So you're really positioning yourself in that solution aware stage is, I have something that you haven't tried before, but I'm not going to sell it to you. I'm going to talk to you about it. I'm going to find out why you've tried, why these things didn't work. So you're really getting into the relationship building there about why is all this happening? And really getting into, do you want to solve the problem? Because that's another thing in these first 3 stages. When we get to the 4th stage and it's cold selling, we're trying to sell a problem to people that they may or may not have. So we're really, out there trying to sell things to people who will never buy. And that is a problem as well. So after you've worked for about 10 to 12 weeks in that solution aware, then you're going to move to the product aware. Hey, I have a product. It's coming soon. And this is what it's all about. This is what it's going to do for you. These are the pain points you have. So now you're positioning it, now that they know you exist and they've been actively evaluating what you're doing. That's when they come in and they start getting interested in your product. And that's just your low hanging fruit, your book. Your book is your low hanging fruit. At $20 to $30, it's not a difficult buy to find out, do I like the way this person does business? Do I like the way they present the problem? Do I like their solution? Do they look organized? Do they look like they're an action person? You have to remember that your personality doesn't fit everybody else's. People come to me because I'm always in action. I give homework. Some people don't like that. They want a more passive journey to all of this. So that's where you get to find out how they operate, or they get to find out how you operate. And would I want to take a next step with them? And then you move into that most aware phase. And that's where people are buying your book. Now we're moving them into products and services. Now we're moving into where the big money is. And you guys have probably, if you published a book already, you found out you're not going to make a living off that book. Unfortunately, that is the truth about it. I hear lots of authors all the time say, I'm going to put out a series. I have an author with 10 books, and I'm going to put out a series, and people are just going to want to coach with me. That's not how it works. You have to build a relationship. And I think that's one piece that with social media and all those things out there that people forget about is, we're all invested in clicks, and you actually have to talk to people. I noticed Gary's on this call, and I was talking to him the other day and telling him about a coaching program that I'm working with, helping someone develop. And his biggest frustration is all these salesmen are coming out, or people are coming out of college. They want to be salesmen, and they're texting these companies, hey, buy this electrical. And these contractors are saying, who are you? And why are you texting me? I want someone who walks in the door and talks to me and builds a relationship. And unfortunately, we have a whole generation that's never done that. And they're failing in the sales realm because of that, because they're selling to these older people who, are the head of the sales force and have been doing this for years. So that's why this is so important, because you are building relationships along the way when you pattern your build like this. So for those of you who love graphs, what you're actually doing is you're spending all your marketing energy on maybe 3% that are already in stages 4 and 5, and you're completely disregarding the 97% that are sitting back there in stages 1, 2, and 3 that you could be picking up and building relationships with to get them to stage 4 or 5. So you're really investing your time, energy, and money in the wrong place. And for those of you who have bought book marketing, it is very expensive. Most of the time, it's not super targeted. And I had a client tell me the other day, he has spent $250,000 between publishing books and marketing over the last 7 years. And now he's come back and he's building a platform. We are starting from scratch. And he's just blown away that he has spent that much money on book marketing that never worked with what he's doing. And his book is not bad. He just won a Book Fest award, 3rd place for their book Battle in the Bedroom. So, going back and starting again is useful. So here's what I liken to, for those of you who haven't gotten it yet, is what you've been doing is like proposing on the first date. So if you're like me, you're sitting across from someone on the first date and, they're like, I love you, you're beautiful, let's get married. If you're like me, I am excusing myself to go to the restroom. I've got my Uber app open. I'm looking for my little MacGyver kit to disengage the lock on the emergency exit door, because it's creepy and it feels weird. And so basically by skipping those first 3 steps, that's exactly what you're doing with people. And that cold audience is never going to just click and buy that book. So the difference, I showed you the chart of what the traditional publishers have told you for years to do. This is what you should be doing. Write your book out loud. Develop that audience. Signal test through content development and social media. Get out there, ask opinions, ask for feedback, build a community with a lead magnet. Send those people emails every week. Ask them, hit reply and ask them in a PS. Hit reply and tell me what you think of that. You'll be shocked. People will do that and they'll say, I haven't tried that, or I tried that and I didn't work. could we maybe make an appointment and find out why it didn't work? You'd be amazed when you start doing that. That's where you start the relationship building. Um, I encourage all of you to polish that manuscript to perfection, but build your platform first, then start polishing it. Invest heavily in the author platform before you invest in that editing, the design, the production quality, because that's where you're going to actually sell the product you're trying to work with. Hit publish and sell. Work with an audience to sell more books. What does that mean? We have down on the next one, you'll see I talk about power partners. Power partners are not affiliate partners. There's a difference. Affiliate partners are clicks. It's where you go out to some of your friends and you say, hey, will you send an email about my book? And maybe they send an email and somebody clicks through and they buy. That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for power partners, people with like-minded businesses who are willing to have you host a webinar, build a relationship with their audience as well. So that is the way you bring more of that relationship building in the door, is see, can I get a speaking gig where I can sign books and build relationships with those people in the audience? Do I have power partners that will do that for me? So get out and leverage those types of relationships with more than just a click. I'm going to give you a great example. I won that award the second week of April. I just had a big blogger come out for my next book. They're going to write a big article on it. He contacted me through a power partner that put us together. Another company just reached out, and I'm on the Summer Beach Bash book reading. That came from another partner. So when you build these relationships with partners, be willing to see if when you have opportunities that they might like and vice versa, you do the same for them, because you will see your audience grow exponentially when you start building those types of relationships. And then start watching your audience and your book sales grow month by month. Steady sales, steady audience growth with no spikes. Amazon is literally discounting spikes now. Those bestseller campaigns, I haven't done one since August of last year. And that is because they no longer honor them. They don't want to see that long tail slide anymore. They are rewarding external clicks. So, and what I mean by an external click is when you have a piece of content, let's say you have a Substack, when someone clicks through from Substack, when they click through from LinkedIn to your book, when they click through from the show notes on your podcast, when they click through from power partner things that have been done with other people, their webinars, things like that. That's what they're looking for, are their external products. We actually have a product called Author PromoCast, where your book runs through ads on apps. And every time someone clicks through from there, even if they don't buy the book, Amazon's rewarding you because now you have 300 clicks a month that weren't happening before. So what does it look like? Platform, no platform. You have no platform, you're selling 100 books, you might have some revenue, but more than likely you are not going to have the inquiries you need for those big ticket items you want to sell. When you do have a platform, you're going to get not only sell more copies of those books, but you're going to have more revenues from those people that you have nurtured through all of those phases, buying those big ticket items that you have. We were featured at BookFest afterwards. People not only bought the book, I've had 8 inquiries in the last 3 weeks on my calendar for different products that we sell because they want to know more about how to build that platform. That's what you're looking for because you've nurtured those people into those bigger items and built that relationship. They know you, they know how you do business on there. So I think I shared with you guys, I'm not going to go through this a lot, but this was actually my faceplant story. My first book, I told you, grandmother bought most of my copies. I started building my platform after that. It was very humiliating to not sell any books. But that shift came from building the platform. By my third book, I sold over 25,000 copies of that book. And that breakthrough, it wasn't that I was a better writer. It wasn't that, my book cover was better. It was that I had built an audience around what I was doing and that book. and it got me a lot of speaking business. It got me all of those goals that I had were fulfilled, and it just grew from there. So nothing changed with what I published. It was simply that I took the time and built a platform before then. So, implementation, I want to talk a little bit about it because I know we all go to events, and you'd be amazed how many times I have heard over and over from people. I went to a Jack Canfield event, but what I did, what he taught didn't work. And what Jack teaches does work, but you have to implement it. So I would encourage you, whether you read my book, go, get inside the program, do whatever you're going to do, that you practice your implementation, because part of what you're building with a platform is that you have to implement it. There's a lot of tech, and you have to be tenacious over time to get this done. So do understand that you don't just go home and spend the 6 months not knowing how to apply. Get help with specific application to what you do. So don't go into this big general course that doesn't help you. Make sure that whoever you're coaching with is specific and meets you where you're at. So recognition is not transformation. It's understanding the problem intellectually and implementing it. So I just want to put that in because I see a lot of people who go to these presentations and they never implement, or they barely implement, and they're expecting results. So that gap exists, and it's not because it's your fault. It's not that you're not intelligent, because all of you wrote a book. You're intelligent. You're not lazy. You wrote a book. It's because most of the things that we're doing in the book world, we're taking a universal framework and trying to take your particular niche and put it together in an actionable plan. And if someone's not helping you with that in a strategic, customized way, it's not going to be helpful. You can't just take templates and put general answers in there. You really have to get down to what you do on that. So what authors need more than information and more than another course is a custom plan built exactly for their book, and someone in their corner to explain that and help you get it implemented. And that's where Mary's question comes in. If you already have a book, is it too late? I just told you about my one of my author platform building clients. Absolutely not. I think he has 7 or 8 books, and now he's going back to square one. He's spent an enormous amount of money over the last 7 years with those books, and now we're building the platform, and he has a plan. And when I first started, when he was first referred to me, he's like, I didn't even know someone like you existed, a literary strategist. I just tried to do it all on my own. And that's the difference. As soon as I gave him a plan, he was so excited because he's never actually had a plan before. And that's where this author gap in the author market is, we have all these coaches, we have all these agencies, we have all these courses, but the courses teach frameworks. They tell you what to do, but they don't tell you how to do it. The coaches help you think through problems, but you need to execute it. And my experience with a lot of the agencies is they execute campaigns without actually transferring their knowledge. They're expensive, and as soon as you stop paying, your results stop too. So you really have to learn how to get through this yourself. And once you do, then you can hire a VA to help you because you're directing them on what to do. So what the Perfect Reader Playbook does is it's a plan, it's a partner, and it's a guide to execution. So you actually, when you run our report, you have a 20-page plan that walks you through every single step of that process. Tells you exactly who your primary client is. It goes through purchase triggers, which nobody ever talks about, but I came from advertising, so I understand what purchase triggers are and how you can use them with readers in your coaching. It also gives you a plan, a distribution plan, an article or podcast, whatever that content you're producing plan, through every stage that I just talked about, 1 through 5. So what you get with this is a crystal clear reader avatar, stage-specific messaging, a 90-day content roadmap, and platform strategy. So build, earned, and borrowed audience channels for the long-term authority. You don't just get that weak spike You can start all over with your marketing plan. And like Mary just asked about, can you do this with an existing book? Absolutely. And it'll probably be the best thing you ever did for your business and your book. What you get a part of this is you don't get templates that are one size fits all. You get one on one how to go through this and build this. We use one of the things I see a lot is you guys don't have marketing programs, robust marketing programs. We use Go High Level, and it has everything you need in it to build. So we try to put you into something. There are a lot of others. There's ClickFunnels. There are some other ones out there, but for the most part, I see you guys are patching together systems to try to do something that you're not quite sure you know what you do. So we take a look at your lead magnets. We take a look at how you're building your email list, what you're building, and go through it step by step and start getting clarity on how that gets built. So when we do this, you get a strategic coaching call, a platform assessment, real-time feedback, sure I can say that. And then we talk about how to remove those roadblocks that you already have. So you're not just getting that report gives you a strategic partner in all this. You're not just getting a bunch of worksheets and here, go figure it out and implement it. So what this changes for you is it changes launch day. When you're working with power partners, when you already have that audience and the plan, you have your momentum built already. It's a celebration. It's not a, oh my God, I'm going to die. This isn't working type of situation. You already have pre-sold readers. And when I say pre-sold readers, those are pre-sold readers from your audience, not ones that you went out and bought. Because those ones that you go out and buy, they're not going to stick with you the long term. And you want to get these people into those bigger things that you sell. Also, the speaking opportunities. You're going to get a lot of those inbound. If you're out there and you have your own content, let's say you have a podcast, now you have something to offer for what we call a pod swap. You can go out to other podcasts and say, I'd love to swap. Would you like to be on mine? I can be on yours. Now you're in front of a like-minded audience. And all of this is also a long-term asset for you as well. So real authors, real results. I'm not going to get into that hugely. I've already told you about some of my clients who have already done this. But this is for you if you're using your book to build a business, because all of the assets that you're building will help your business as well. If you're someone who wants to implement, not just learn, because you are going to be actively implementing these plans. If you want a strategic partner, not a course. If you just want to do a DIY course and try to figure it out, great. If you want a strategic partner that can guide you and weave you through some of the difficult parts, that's what this will do for you. And also, if you're willing to invest 6 to 12 months to get this up and get this done right. And that is a huge part of this. So what happens next? I'm going to give you a URL, schedule a session, get your map and your reader mapped out. I give you questions to answer, you answer them, and then you receive your playbook and we talk about those specific goals. You can do that. Go over to chatwithjuliet.com. I will tell you in advance, I am not a hardcore seller. We're going to have a lot of discussion. If you're the right fit, great. If you're not, that's great too. But at least you have a plan with it all. I saw that I had a second question here. Let me see what that was. My audience building is a big, oh, Gary. Yeah, I know. Yeah, go ahead and schedule up a follow-up meeting. That's great. Do you guys have any questions? Mary Jo's here. She's already gotten a report. Mary Jo, would you like to comment on how comprehensive that report was?
Sure. Sorry, I don't have my camera on. It's early for me still here in
That's okay.
California. But yeah, very comprehensive. It's, it's a lot to absorb, right? But a lot of information to consider and just a lot of different facets, I would say, are there to just look at and say, okay, here's where I can focus and here's the various different articles I can consider writing, and ways to really hone in on that target audience that I want to focus on first with the books. As the book comes out, who do I already want to be engaged with? So yeah, very, very comprehensive.
Yeah. And Mary Jo's actually, her book will be coming out in January of next year. So she's right at that point where getting all this started. will enhance who purchases her book in the
Yeah.
long run with that as well. So,
Mhm.
um, thank you, Mary Jo. Any other questions?
Oh, I did. You know what? Do you mind? I'm going to ask you a question. Actually, can you repeat what you said when you shared about Amazon is no longer rewarding something or honoring something? I didn't capture it. You said that they were rewarding external clicks, but what they used to reward was something else.
Yeah,
What was?
so they would reward, they weren't rewarding the algorithm that someone goes and looks at your book. So that's where the external clicks come in, is they're looking at what's coming in from the outside now. Here's what they're really trying to do, you guys. They have a clear understanding that a lot of those bestseller campaigns are not coming from author platform building. They're coming from purchased items. And so what they're doing is they're flipping the script here. They are trying to get you to build and actually have a good experience as an author with book sales. So that's where they've actually switched now to they don't want to see spikes in your sale because they're acknowledging that a lot of those spikes are coming from paid outside sources. So they're looking at, are you consistently selling books? If you're consistently selling books, are they coming from external purchases? Are they coming from content? They want to see it coming from content and know that you're building a business. A lot of this is not only the spikes from those bestseller campaigns, but with AI, a lot, you would be amazed. They're actually limiting how many books you can publish a month because they're seeing all of these AI written books coming in. The people that are writing AI books, they're not building a platform. So they are really trying to honor the hardworking people who are writing their own book, who are getting it published and not cheating the system. That's what they're trying to do here. Now, the good news with this is that you not cheating the system is also helping your business as well because you're getting out there, you're getting visibility. You're not just another AI bump in the Amazon audience. So there is a tremendous amount of benefit here. And for the most part, as a publisher, I probably get 80 to 90% of the people who come to me have not built a platform. They don't have a lead magnet. Many of them don't have a website. They don't have a robust social media. They haven't done the things to do. And I understand that, I hate social media. I'll be the first to tell you I hate it, but there's no reason why you can't write it and just if you have something like Go High Level, auto post it. Dip in once a week and and get away from social media as much as you can. I personally think it's a time suck. There's a lot of drama on there I just don't want to deal with. So building the platform and building a robust marketing system as well that you don't have to go in every day and post yourself is also a really big help. The email audience is, even though it's very hard to build an email list, it is very rewarding. I have a fiction novel coming out on May 12th, and it's allowed me to go into some programs like BookFunnel and do book swaps. And what a book swap is I think Terry and I talked about this the other day. Hi, Terry. You go in and you find books that are like yours. And if you have a good list, a newsletter, an article, something that you can offer value, they will promote you in their newsletter to their audience. You do the same with theirs. So it gives you an opportunity for quite a bit of cross promotion. And so, there are a lot of programs out there that if you're building that platform, you can utilize it and get other authors to promote you as well. People you outside of your power partners. I have my first swap, I think, on May 18th. I'm promoting a mystery author and she's promoting me. So when you build this, you have a lot of leverage to go out and get other people to help you as well, sell those books. Anybody else?
Yeah. First of all, Julia, I want to say that is the first time somebody has really sat down and explained 1 to 5 and for me to understand it. Maybe I'm just now getting it. I don't know. But I really appreciate the time and the effort that you have put into this. Second, how often do you do a blog and do you put it on all the social, like Instagram, Facebook? LinkedIn, whatever.
So one of the things the report will do for you is it will identify where that target market is. So that is one of the beauties of the report. So for me, my mystery writing is sort of secondary. It's fun, but I have to focus on my nonfiction writing because it supports my business. So I have a LinkedIn newsletter and I also have a podcast, which you guys are all on right now. Um, Now, what I do with that podcast, and I know you are talking to me about a podcast as well, is I have that made into a blog that goes on my Superbrand site. I have that it goes over the video goes over on my YouTube channel, and then we promote the shorts for it over on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is actually because of nonfiction, my primary place that I promote. For you, you're probably I would say you're probably a lot on Facebook because that's where older folks are, and
I
you're
am.
what you're doing is Facebook bound. So that's one of the things that identifies there. What kind of content support you guys? It gets you down to these are the articles you should write. It gets that in detail with it. So if you, one of the things that happens with content is people say, I don't have enough ideas, or, I'm running out of ideas. Every single stage of this report will give you 10 articles or podcasts or something to follow to write. So if you've got 5 stages, you've got 50 articles right there that you've got ideas for, in addition to whatever you come up with on your own. So it is a helper with it. So the main point is, where are you distributing? Is it the right place? I worked with an author in, I think it was 2018, and she had a solo to CEO book platform. She insisted on being on Facebook. She knew Facebook. She used to do Facebook ads. It was a complete, it was awful. It failed because she really belonged on LinkedIn, where those CEOs and those people were. As far as content, once a week, get a piece out once a week. And for all of you who think that sounds so hard, we have AI now. I literally can go in because I have a secondary blog on the Perfect Reader Playbook website. I literally go in, I give it a topic, I let it write it, and then I go back in and finesse in my own writing. So it takes the time out of probably an hour that I would have sat there writing the blog or whatever it is. So we have a lot of helpers out there that can really help. I would never use AI to write a book, but as far as platform building goes, there are a lot of things you can do to help with platform building.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Mary, did you have more questions? I appreciated your question.
Sure, but it's probably part of your, your package.
Oh, you wanted to discuss the package?
Well, one question I have for sure is roughly how much are we talking for the package?
So the report, to run the report, all of those things I mentioned there, it's $9.97. So
Okay.
yeah, I didn't, like I said, I'm not a hard seller, so I don't put prices on things. And I do the webinar thing where today it's this, and you get a gazillion dollars in bonuses. This is a basic, so you start with the basics and build from there.
Okay,
Okay.
cool. Thanks.
So, anybody else?
Yeah, I just came in, so I'm sorry about that, Juliet. So.
That's okay. I have a replay. I'll send you the replay, Dorothy. Dorothy is one of my clients as well. So, all right. Then again, if you want to talk about it, if you think it's something that you might want to do, go to chatwithjuliet.com and set up an appointment, and we'll discuss it. Is it right for you? What have you done? What if you haven't? I'll do a platform evaluation for you and kind of tell you where those holes are at. And I think that's it for today. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks.
See you soon.